Here he is, Warren. How are you, mate? I think it's Warren. Let me check. Yes, it is. You got some mad skills there, guy. Hey, Arduino. So, I uploaded the audit that we did on Friday just to YouTube. I don't know how it's going to work on YouTube. It's 40 minutes of me talking to imaginary people as far as the YouTube audience is concerned, but anyway, we'll see how we go. Alright, let's have a look at onewood.com.au. Who was the other bloke that someone else, was that you? Someone asked me during the week. Hey Velna. Okay, so we're doing some live SEO site audits. We're starting with onewood.com.au. Let me just get the Screaming Frog ready. Play along at home if you want. Just don't everyone get onto the sites at the same time, because we might kill them. So we're looking at a site audit for Warren. onewood.com.au. So first thing I'm going to do, I'll just start a crawl of the site, and then I'm going back into Google. I'm going to type site : SEO site : not SEO. Site : onewood.com.au. So we're looking at what Google knows about the site, and Warren, it's got 78 pages. You've got some pages in there that shouldn't be in there. You should be no indexing them with Yoast, and they would include your categories. Hi Lorette. Just throw a URL into the chat if you want your site reviewed. So and then also your blog pages. So you know how let's see, you know how when you go to the blog page of a site, it says next page, next page, next page. We don't want those indexed. We only want the, oh gosh, Lorette, you in Paris? Everyone here, how it's go out to you. Horrible. Yeah, you don't want those indexed. You want to no index those. You can just do that with Yoast. Personalhistorians.org. So you've got to get rid of those. What we want is a clean Google index. Also, what's being indexed here are your tags. So your tags, your categories, archives if you've got those, subsequent posts in the blog, you want all of those no indexed. And if I quickly go to that seems to be the main problem with your site, that and images tags as well. So all those tags and attachments, we don't want the attachments that are indexed. So one of the attachments I've got here is attachment _ID equals 425. We don't want attachments, and once again you can fix that up in Yoast. You've got a lot of that, so that's what you've got to clean up. So you've got a lot of those attachments. All of those are going to hurt you because it's going to look like a low quality site to Google, where you're going to have those attachment pages, for instance, are just a page with an image on it, so there's no content. So you want to get rid of those, and you can do all of that in the Yoast plugin for WordPress. That's what I would do with that, Warren. Come back and see me in a week, and we'll see how it is then. But until you get that cleaned up, don't worry about the on-page stuff. You need to get all of that index cleaned up first, and then resubmit your sitemap, because your sitemap's probably got a lot of this stuff in it. Resubmit your sitemap. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at, hey, how do I say Iray? Iray, is that how I say your name? So site : personalhistorians.org. So we're looking at personalhistorians.org. Sorry, can you just make a comment again? I forgot who asked me to have a look at this one. This is the association. Okay, we've got 4,100 results. Incidentally, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. Okay. Let's have a look. Yeah, I thought so. It's quite easy to do, and I do it all the time for clients anyway, so thanks for that, Philip. So personal historians be brutal. personalhistorians.org. So we've got Screaming Frog doing the... Oh, jeez. It's not good. Okay. Yeah. First thing you got to do... Well, maybe it's not first. Let me go and check a couple of other things. Okay, one of the things I've just noticed is that on the personalhistorians.org site, the crawl's only just begun, and every page, it had crawled 50... When I switched it off, every page had the same page title. So the page title is the first thing that Google will see about your site. It's the first piece of information that Google's going to crawl. So you want it to be telling Google and the user about the page, because page title also appears, for the most part, in the Google search results. So at the moment, your page title, well, you've got some different ones, but for the most part, why are all these? Yeah, all of your, you've got an overabundance of duplicate page titles. No, they shouldn't, Philip. So I'm a big fan of not even having your brand in your page title, unless you're trying to rank for, you know, Nike sneakers or something, and it's a brand you want to rank for. But for your own brand, there's really no compelling reason to have your brand in your page title. The reason for that is Google's very good at finding brands. A lot of web developers, that's a sort of standard practice that they'll do. They'll put the company brand name. Now the blog's looking good, Michelle, from what I can tell here. That the blog seems to have... you've got a lot of the same problems as Warren. Someone just asked me this earlier here in the office. They said, why do so many sites have messy Google indexes? And the reason is I just don't think some people realize that it's bad to have a lot of duplicate content in the index. So, Michelle, on yours, apart from all the page titles, which is like, we're letting Google crawl and index things like categories, tags. What else have we got here that's coming up? The blog pages. So essentially the same as Warren's site. You've got Google going into pages that you really don't want it going into, and crawling. So you've got to stop Google. I would, if it was my site, I'd be making sure all the tag pages are no indexed, all the category pages are no indexed. Yeah, sure, Philip. This is enchant. Because, you know, you've got 4,000 pages, and a lot of those you really just don't want Google in at. Let me just see what we've got in the way of errors. Yeah, we've got some redirects. Probably should. Oh, we've got a lot of 404s. We've got 26 broken links on the site, so you want to fix those. we've got then another 1, 2, 3, about another 15 temporary redirects at the moment. I've only crawled 38% of the site, so there's an issue here where they're the account logins and those sorts of things. Yeah, that's not a big deal. Don't worry about the 302s. Actually, no, there's a bunch more of 302s appearing now. So a 302 is a temporary redirect. The reason a temporary redirect is a problem is because you might change that final destination at some point. So Google's not going to want to send it to user there. So you've got them in, for instance, personalhistorians.org/conference is a temporary redirect. So you've got a bunch of those. You've also got the site is indexable at, I don't think you're using, no you're not. So your site is indexable at both personalhistorians.org and www.personalhistorians.org. So for instance, I'm going back into Google now. The first search that I did in Google was site:personalhistorians.org. So now I'm going to do it with the W's to see if I get a different number. So I got 4,140 the first time I did the search. Second time I've done the search, I get 2,610. So I would say that your site is duplicated in the index. So fix up the duplication first. You really just want to use one domain or the other, not both www.personalhistorians.org and personalhistorians.org. Google sees those as two separate sites. Both those should be set up in Google Search Console, and whichever one you go with, you should redirect the other one to that. Now, how do you make a decision about which one to go to? Well, for print, it doesn't really matter. So if you've got business cards printed and everything else with one of those domains on it, it doesn't really matter. What you need to do is work out which one of those domains has the most backlinks. And then that should become your main domain. That's the way we do it anyway. And then you permanently redirect the other domain to the one that's got the most backlinks. So clean up the index first. Then once you've got one site, then go through and do all your no indexing of tags, categories, archives, blog pages, not your posts. These are the pages that have the list of posts. And then go and fix all your page titles, because that's bad. Hopefully that wasn't too brutal. Okay. Now we're going to go and have a look at this is enchant. This is enchant. Was it .com, .com.au? I can't remember. I'm going to try .com.au. No, it's not .com.au. Must have been .com, was it, Philip? Yeah, okay. So we're going now. Hi from Sweden, lovely Spirit 15. Okay. This is looking nice and neat, Philip. The crawl's looking nice and neat. Let's go and see what Google thinks. On the board, not the... yeah, you got a big cleanup. Yeah, no problems. I'll be uploading this to YouTube later on today if you want to go back and show anyone or whatever. So you broke it. How did you break it? What time is it here? It is 11:10 a.m. G'day, Big Spaz. Let's have a look here. This is okay. So we've got 92 pages, Philip. So, and that's at the root domain. If I do the W's, it's none there, which is good. Our developer and indie broker. Yeah, don't you hate that? By the way, feel free to ask anyone else if you think they need their site reviewed. Just tweet them, send them a link. 1:11 a.m. Oh, it's 11:11 a.m. here now. Let's have a look. So this is Enchant. You've got similar problems again. I see this a lot. So we've got your tags are getting indexed. Yeah, lots of tags indexed here, Philip. We don't want that because that can cause duplication and confusion. In fact, most of the pages. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a search to eliminate the tags and the results so I can get a better idea of how many pages you've got in the index without the tag. So I'm going to do a little search. So I'm going to say minus sign in URL as a word, INURL, colon, and I'm just going to put the word tag. And that will give me, the pages, when they're generated, should be generated with a no index tag. So if you're on WordPress, that's fairly trivial to do. If you're not on WordPress, it's usually fairly easy to do on most. Okay, so Philip, without the tags, hi Gemma, without the tags, you've only got 40 pages indexed. So let me see what they are. Training services. So, well, we've got categories indexed as well, and we've got blogs pages indexed. So these are, the blog pages that have, multiple links to different posts on them. They're getting indexed as well, which we don't want. So I would say probably another 20 of those shouldn't be there, Philip, at least, of that 40. So probably only... which subjects are you talking about? We're talking about SEO. So we're doing the site audits for people. So you can just drop your website in there if you want me to have a look at it from an SEO perspective. Oh, yeah, okay. I see what you mean about your brand name now too, Philip. Yeah, get that out of... Certainly, if you want to have your brand name in there, hi mate. If you want to have your brand name in there, you want to put it last, because when you're doing SEO, when you and this is what Google says. Google says, you need to be descriptive when you use your keywords. How do you? I find you on YouTube. Don't see a link from your site. That's interesting. / gym boot, Michelle. When you're doing SEO, the keywords that you're using, you want to have them early as possible in whatever, whether it be the URL, whether it be the page title, whether it be the file name of an image, whether it be the alt tag, whether it be a caption, whether it be a heading. My internet is so bad. I'm on fibre here. I'm thinking it's yours. But generally in Australia, yes, the internet is bad. And when I go and have a look at so that's it from the crawl. Yeah, well, we've got an audit product. I'll get there's another gym in the office here that can give you an audit. I'll get him to contact you, Philip. The actual index, the crawl itself, isn't too bad. I need €50. Who doesn't? The crawl's just revealing the same sorts of things as we saw in the Google index, but it has crawled 99 pages, most of those which are tags, categories, and blog pages. So there you go. Ninja Drop Bear. Must be an Australian. Okay. Anybody else want to throw a site in there to get reviewed? Don't be scared. Hey Leroy. Tags, categories. So tags and categories. So let me just see, because no one else has thrown a URL in there yet. Let me just go and have a look. page source. Oh, just on your page titles too. Your home page title is helping brands build relationships with people. Yeah, I probably did. I probably said when you go to your blog, you just go to the root, not to a post page. You just go to /blog. Usually down the bottom of the blog, and I'll check yours in a second, there's next page, and it shows another list of posts. We don't want those next pages shown. We only want that first one in there. We don't want all the subsequent ones in there because that can cause some duplication issues. Same as with the categories and the tag pages and archive pages if you have those. I didn't see any of those on yours. But the homepage title, helping brands build relationships with people, is a great page title if that's what you want to rank number one for. Chances are, though, I go out on a limb and say no one's really typing that in except maybe you. But let me just quickly. That's on the homepage. You're on WordPress, so you can do all that with Yoast. Just get the Yoast plugin, and you need to. You can no index with Yoast. What to do? Yeah, I don't know what that means. In Yoast, should I select redirect attachment URL to parent post URL? Yes, you should. What do? We do SEO, and AdWords and Facebook advertising. We're the reason people follow you around the interwebs with ads. That's the stuff that we do. Stalking, digital stalking. I'm just looking at the code. The code doesn't look too bad. Except I did notice on your site, Philip. By the way, if you've got a site, you can just drop it in the chat and we will review it for SEO for you. On your home page, your heading tags are all not doing terribly much for you. Yeah, so your heading tags are nothing, not doing anything for you. But yeah, I'll get the other Jim in the office to email you. Excuse me. Do I have a website? As a matter of fact, I do. It's stuartmedia.biz or .com.au if you want to come from Australia. So, go to sleep, Philip. We're only just starting here. You're welcome. Who are you? I am Jim. I am Jim Stewart. I am Jim Boot. Jim Boot on Twitter, YouTube, 500 videos up on YouTube. Also, should I strip the base category out? Yeah, I like to, but don't do it all at once. Don't. When you're doing any SEO changes, you want to do one thing first. So get your no indexing done first. Do I like cats? Well, I have 3 dogs. You want to do a piece at a time. Or children. I've got grandchildren. 5 grandchildren. Chicken. You want to do it a little bit at a time. So just go and do one thing first, and then go and do the URL change. Now, with the URL change, I did a show on it last week. I think it was last week's show. Yeah. Are you plus 60? No, bastard. Didn't mean that. No, I'm not. It's just the grey beard. I just had my 50th birthday, but thank you for aging me 10 plus years. Good. SEO is a scary thing, so that's just as well. You want to go in and do pieces at a time. So that show that I did last week, go and have a look at stuartmedia.biz and watch that video from last week, or just go to the Jim Boot channel on YouTube, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about there with getting all the categories out of the URLs. We're talking about SEO. And once you've done that, then you have to go and redirect all the old URLs to their new equivalents. And then you have to go and remove the old URLs off the page as well and make sure the new URLs are in there. So you don't want to go, okay, we're going to do everything today for SEO. That's not the way it works. You do a bunch of, you might do one big thing for SEO, and then you wait, you watch to see how Google responds, and then you do the next thing. It's an iterative process. Alrighty, hopefully that helps. So what else have we got here? Okay. If there was one piece, one piece. Can I have two pieces? Give me two. If there was one piece of SEO advice, all right, I'll give you two. Blog like a maniac, build a community, build an audience. That's what you need to be doing. You need to be building an audience, and that's one of the reasons I'm doing Periscope. It doesn't have to be on your site. All the other SEO stuff will follow. Will that remove the tags from the index? Eventually, but you can actually go and manually remove them as well. So when I say eventually, it will remove the tags from the index. It will have to go and crawl everything else. And once it's crawled everything else, it sees it's no index, then it removes it. Or you can go and do it as a manual process. The other piece of advice I would give with SEO is clean up the Google index. Get pages out of the Google index that shouldn't be there, because that creates noise. And we don't want noise. We want a nice, clean signal going to Google. So, yeah, they're the two main pieces of advice. And to give you an idea of that, like this, we're doing I'm bringing out an SEO system for bloggers, and that's bloggersseo.com. And that system, I've taken two sites and I've applied, what I'm saying bloggers should do to these two sites. One site, her traffic is up 50% from Google. The other site is up 87% from Google. And we're talking, the second site going from something like, I don't know, it was something like 28,000 to 50,000 uniques from Google. And all that I've done primarily with those two sites is clean up the index. And they're already bloggers. And then I've gone and just got them to write one or two pages focused on my keywords. And that took a lot of time because there was a lot of mess in the index. But even just getting the index fixed first, they all still had great jumps. But because they're blogging as well, they've got all this fabulous content. You've got to have good, consistent content, and you've got to build an audience. Don't worry about Google. Don't listen to everything about you've got to go and buy some backlinks. Here's the latest trick. Here's all these things. Forget about all that sort of stuff. Build an audience and build a community, and make sure that the Google index is clean. Everything else will follow, providing you're using your keywords in the right place. It's not that hard of an equation. It's just that some sites are harder to optimize than others because they're such a mess. So, alrighty. Any other questions? Yeah, no worries, Ninja. Well, if there's no other questions, I'll see you tomorrow. No, I won't see you. You'll see me, maybe. Yeah, but, the other thing, we've got a webinar coming up Thursday week Australian time on moving to a new site migration. Just head over to stuartmedia.biz if you want the details of that, and just sign up for the newsletter and you'll get an announcement. But it's November 26th, 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Australian Eastern Summer Time, I should say. So for people in Queensland, it'll be 10 o'clock. GMT, that's plus 11 hours, I think, universal time. But that webinar, because one of the things that we see all the time happen is businesses move to new sites and it kills their business, and they don't understand where Google's gone or where all the traffic from Google has gone. And that's because they moved from their old site to the new site in a very, very bad way. So if you want to avoid that, then you've got to be on that webinar. And we will see you all tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Sorry about my fingers.